Honey, what are you thinking?
Welcome to today's show. You actually got the front seat. I got it all lined up for you, but I'm gonna keep the spotlight just on myself, just for today, right? I think so. I think so. Oh man, we got the guy code today. We supposed to talk about the guy code or the bro code, because the ladies have been asking since there's a guy code, right? What's the guy code? Since ladies have their own code. That's actually today's topic. Let me read it again. It's what's the guy code since ladies have their own code. I don't know much about the ladies' code, but of course I'm here to talk about the guys' code. Actually, it's got several names. It's not just the guy code. There's the bros over hoes, guy code, bro code. There's brostitution. Pretty awesome, right? Brostitution, like bro. Institution, like the constitution. So prostitution. And then there's Deuteronomy, or the Book of Deuteronomy. Book of Deuteronomy is like Deuteronomy in the Bible, or the Torah for yeah. So there's the Book of Deuteronomy. Sounds great, right? Yeah, and the guy code is basically a set of unwritten codes. Like guys just know them. Of course, some ladies know them too, but mostly the guys know them. They're unwritten. They're just out there, like basic facts or rules, although regulations, but most guys don't always follow them. And there are consequences to breaking the guy code. Usually it results in your guys or your bros kicking you out of their crew. And if you're getting kicked out, it means you probably did something pretty bad. Just broke one or two rules, and sometimes, of course, actually part of the code is just let the guy back in if he shows enough remorse. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. So the guy code I just mentioned refers to the rules and regulations which a man lives his life, or the rules that a man is supposed to observe, especially in relation to other men or to other bros. These rules can be pretty simple or as complex as you wanna put it. As simple as making sure that when you visit a person's house, or let's say you're visiting one of your friends, one of your male friends, when you go in their house, remember you're not in your place. This is another man's territory, just if I can put it that way, right? And obviously he doesn't have to mark his territory, it's his place. Yeah, and if you're visiting him or with a group of friends, number one, if you happen to go into his fridge, if you find the last bottle of beer or the last can, you definitely don't touch that. You don't touch that. That belongs to your buddy. You leave that right there. If it's the last bottle or the last can, does not belong to you. You don't have the right to take that or to drink it. It's not rule number one. Actually, I'm not gonna give them in any order because they're everywhere, all over the place. So I'm just gonna throw them out there randomly. Yeah. And let's try another rule. Number one, don't forget that. Don't go taking the last beer in the fridge, right? And another one is you shall never speak of your friend's conquests to your significant other. What I'm saying here is what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. If you observe, if he happens to get into some sort of sexcapade, you should never speak about that to your significant other. That means a man cannot go tell his wife or his girlfriend or his fiance what his bros have been up to. You're breaking the bros code. Simple, pretty clear. Let's check another one out. You should not go without replying to your bros if they've texted at least two texts. It shouldn't be more than two texts. If he's texted just one text, you might go without replying. Maybe you were busy, you never saw it, or you decided you might reply a little bit later, but more than one text, no. Yeah, and a different one, we can say number 3. Those are so far, that's like 2, so let's try number 3. Remember, they're not in any order, they're just random. If you know your bro's girlfriend or somebody he's interested in, and you, let's say he introduces her to you, to the rest of his crew, and you happen to think that you might have seen her before somewhere or something of the sort, you gotta let him know. You need to let him know, bro, I don't know why I saw her, I don't know if I've met her before, but man, it kind of rings a bell. But you also need to remember to go dig deep, think about it, and try to remember why you might have seen her. Maybe it was some photo, maybe a video, something. Let's go to number 4. Yeah, this should be number 4. You should never eat another man's food, specifically fast foods like French fries, stuff like that. If he has it on his plate, you do not touch that. Especially if he didn't give you the right, didn't tell you it's all right, you can have it or you can try it. You don't just go putting your hands on another man's food. You should chop it off. You should chop off that hand. Just because you even tried, you even thought about that, you even considered putting your hands on his food. That's sacred. Keep away. Go get your own, or maybe you can ask for a share of it. If you really want to have it, but don't just go digging into another man's food. Another one is, God forbid one of your bros dies if he passes on. I know it's sad, but you've got duties to rise above or any other feelings you're experiencing or you're going through. Number 1, it's your duty, sworn duty, to make sure nobody gets to see his search history. It's your job to make sure you delete everything, erase everything, clear his search history. Google, whatever, you gotta clear that. If possible, get his phone, delete on everything he's got in there, all his history, delete that. Go to his computer, delete everything, the hard disk, delete everything, and I mean everything. Move mountains if you have to, but make sure you leave nothing, like nothing. He expects you to do that for him. It's not like he's gonna wake up anytime soon to make sure his phone has been deleted and cleared of everything. You don't want to leave no evidence. Let's move on. If you happen to be in the same place or in the same, maybe you guys are traveling, so you're sharing in a hotel, please try, or maybe he's invited you to his home, you ought to try and not touch anything that relates to hygiene, like his razor, his towels. You should not use the same stuff that he's using, unless of course he gives you the right. Maybe you don't have your own, he can give it to you or he can lend it to you, but obviously you should not go using it without letting him know. Yeah, don't do that. Messed up. Just messed up. He might not like that. Most guys just don't like that. So stick to your own. If you forget it, you guys will figure out the solution, but just don't go taking his towel, using it and all that. He'll not like it. Another rule, don't mess with his tools, equipment, and something of the sort. Those are his tools. If you're borrowing them, make sure you return them in the same condition they were before, or better. If I lend you something as simple as pliers, please just make sure you return them in the same state they were before, or if better, no problem, but do not bring it back damaged or anything that lowers their value, because sometimes it might carry some sentimental value. I mean, some of them have been passed down from generation, from your father, grandparents and everything. So ladies, that's just another rule that we usually have. Like, I don't have to explain it to them, to any other man, but generally it should be natural. Like, take responsibility. If you borrow something, give it back in the same condition you got it before. And if something happens, just let him know, explain yourself. Should go down better than trying to shift the blame or covering up. And the next one is, no man should have to buy a birthday present for another man. Like, I don't expect a friend to say, hey, you didn't buy me a birthday present, what's happening? No, it doesn't work like that. No, you don't expect me to go grab a present, birthday. No, we might come have a fun time or something of the sort, but you don't necessarily expect me to get you something. Doesn't always. That's not the way it works. Not really. And we got beer. A nice cold bottle of beer. So with beer, we got a couple of rules. Like number one, if you visit a friend, he's obligated to have a couple of beers. Usually, you expect that, especially if you're helping him with a job, like moving. He needs a tree cut, or he needs some help with something in the house or in his compound. A host should always have a couple of cold beers. And for the guys visiting, the visitors, your bros, don't complain about whichever beer he might have. He might not have your favorite brand of beer. You take what he offers gratefully. You drink that thing like it's the last thing you'll ever drink. No complaining, no whining. Don't make a fuss about your favorite beer. Do you have this? Do you have that? No, it doesn't matter. Take what he has and be grateful for it. If he doesn't have what you love, if it's not available, only two things matter. And number one, it's free from your mate, from your bro, from fellow man. And number two, it's cold. Or both of them, it's free and it's cold. Take that. Be grateful. Obviously, nobody likes a whiner or a complainer. Once in a while, maybe, but not over every other last thing that happens. Still, on the beer, a night out with the guys. Usually, the ladies might not always get this. If he says he has a night out with the guys, or I'll just go grab a beer, doesn't always mean one beer. It goes on and on and on. 2 beers to 4 beers to 8 beers to 16 to 32 to 64. Sometimes maybe 1,000. Of course, they're not going to take all that, but you get the point. So just because he said he's grabbing a beer with the boys, doesn't always just end like that. You might have something else planned, but it might be possible or better for you to plan something else just for that night. So don't wait up. Not always. He might not make it back. Rule number whatever we are at right now, I kind of lost count. When we go to the bathrooms, urinals, every man knows to take the next space out. Take the next one. Don't take the immediate urinal right next to you. No, we need some space. There is no reason to be standing and doing your business right next to another man. And move. Of course, you don't just go skipping like 2 of them. Because if you skip 2 and there's another man coming in, they might lack a place to take care of business. So it's always good to just leave just enough space between you and the next person. After you get in there, the conversation stops the moment the streaming starts. After that, you might go on with the conversation. Rule number next. There is no getting with a guy's ex-girlfriend. No, you really don't do that. You need to stay away. Is it that you were interested or you were waiting for the breakup or something? You're supposed to stay away from exes. You don't deal with it. You don't do that. Of course, once in a while it just happens that you might get interested, or she's interested, or you guys just have feelings for each other. But unless he gave you his blessing, these are some of the situations that lead to bros getting angry at each other, broken relationships, broken friendships. So try to steer away from that. There's something about loyalty to your bro, so just stay away from her. If they broke up, your main focus should be to get his head straight, to help him think about something else, to take his thoughts away from her and from the breakup. Take him out, treat him, and all that. It's not about you at this time. This is his time. This is the time he needs all the attention he can get and all the help he can get. So try to get that and try to do just that. Rule number next, because we got several of them. We still got a couple more to go through. For most bros, when they're generous and a bro decides to treat everybody, he doesn't expect to be paid back. But the rest of you know, just because he doesn't expect to be paid back, the rest of you need to find a way to compensate him. for his generosity. Of course, at a later date, it might be at any other time, but you have to compensate. Just because he doesn't expect any sort of payment, it doesn't mean it goes unchecked. You have the group or the crew, they have to make sure at a later point in time you pay him back. Might be just a simple treat, a couple of beers, food, he took the bill, no sharing or anything. Yeah, come on. You gotta pay him back for that. Rule number next. Reward your friends. We mentioned it. If they came in, helped you out with work or something, beer and pizza does the trick. That's all you need to do. You don't have to go. It has nothing to do with money, like paying them in real cash. Nobody needs that. I mean, beer and pizza is more highly regarded as a currency than real dollars. Just bring in the beer and the pizza. That's more than enough. They actually appreciate it a lot more than anything else. I hope the ladies are learning from this. Like they really wanted to know what are the dude rules, or what rules do they have, the regulations. And rule number next, you don't dance with fellow dudes. No, you don't do that. You rarely see a guy dancing with a fellow guy. Of course, it rarely happens. So that's an unspoken rule. You just don't go dancing, not just with your bros, but with other men. You can dance with yourself, turn around a couple of times, maybe wave, whatever, but you don't dance with fellow men. Just to throw it out there, you don't do that. It's not okay, it's not alright to do that. Number next, it doesn't matter how great your relationship is with your girlfriend or your wife or your fiance. It doesn't matter how much fun you guys are having. It doesn't matter how great you think she is. If she's the hottest chick you've ever laid your eyes on, if she's the sexiest thing on the planet, it doesn't matter what you think of her or what you think of your relationship or what you guys are having. You should spend time with your bros. It's especially not. There is no good reason to abandon your bros to go hang out with her, especially if this is the only time that you've set up to spend time with your bros. Then you just cancel out of the blues. And sometimes the same guy who does this, they come back on their knees when everything doesn't work out, or when she dumps you or something just happens, or maybe you dump her. You come crawling back. You did something wrong and you should have known the rules. Of course, they'll still take you back, but I really hope you've learned your lesson just from doing that. You should not do that. Of course, you need to spend time with your loved ones, but if there's a specific time you guys have set up just for the boys, just for the crew, make sure you show up. There's no need to just cancel. And everybody has something to do. I mean, everybody has made sure they've set up a specific time just for that. So do your part. The wingman job is just awesome. It's a real sacrifice that will not be forgotten and will be paid back thus. Don't forget about that. If you're acting as a wingman, it's not that coveted, but it carries its benefits. I mean, you took one for the team. You helped your crew. You helped one of your mates to get his prized possession, and you'll be paid back in good time. Just make sure you do it with honor, with your head held high. It's nothing to feel bad about. You've done your team a great honor. There's no complaining about it. No say, oh, I didn't know. But of course, when you have another chance, your mate is expected to take one for the team too, to take one for you, because you did it for him before. So it's only fair that he takes one too. Moving on. Rule number next. If one of your bros is in a fight, probably something happened, he's engaged in a fight, you should always take your bro's side. You must back him up. It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter the circumstances, the situation. No, you always have to back him up 100%. No excuses, no nothing. If you guys have to go and retell the story, your narrative should mirror exactly what he says. Back it up. That's the only thing you need to remember. You don't veer off, you don't say something different, you don't say, oh, this happened. No, you back him up completely. That's basic loyalty. Unwritten rules. It's in the brostitution. Read it. Oh, I forgot it's not written anywhere. Just remember it, memorize it or something. Remember, engage in a fight, go help. Make sure you got him covered, right? And always make sure the narrative is consistent, right? You have to give a positive narrative. Don't go saying the way you guys got your butts, you got whooped, you got your butts bitten. No. You gotta give you should talk about the victory, how you guys. I mean, just tell them you should see the other guys. I mean, we whooped their butts. Don't go talking about how you guys got your butts whooped. It should be the other way around. No matter what happened, it should always have a positive, nice outcome. Something good happened. Like you guys actually won the war. Doesn't matter what happened. Nobody needs to know. Rule number next. If a bro is having trouble with the law, with the police maybe, you must insist on how sober he is. No matter how drunk, no matter what happened, you gotta insist. No, my man was straight. My guy was straight. He was good. Everything, just like he said. Of course, if it's about breaking the law, you gotta think about that. But on a simple matter, you gotta insist on how good he is, on how right he is. You gotta back him up, just like we mentioned before. You gotta make sure you got his back covered. Rule number next. You ready for this? Cock blocking. Let me put it this way. Thou shalt not be one. Thou shalt not be a cock blocker. A cock blocker, this is the lowest of our kind. Cock blocking is the lowest you can ever sink. You don't block another man, another bro, whether you know him or not. Unwritten rules, read them, memorize them. Everybody knows them. All right. Let's move on to the next unwritten rule in the prostitution. Always be honest about your opinion of your bro's love interest, or his girlfriend. Let him know what you think about her. Of course, number one, you should always compliment him on his choice, unless she's absolutely, terrifyingly not what you want for him. If you think he could do so much better, you can let him know. Don't spare him. Just let him know, man, you could be so much better than that, right? If it happens that it's that drastic, I mean, you need to take some drastic measures, yeah, let him know. But in most cases, just compliment his choice. He knows what he's doing. He knows why he chose the person he's with. And here we're talking about a new love interest, not somebody he's been dating like forever. You can't go the lines. You can't cross those lines. If it's a new person, you have a reason to give your honest opinion. Next rule, unwritten. Always be excited to hear the stories your bros are giving. You should always be excited. It doesn't matter how many times you've heard it. It doesn't matter how many times you've told it. The same way, the same language, the same pauses, everything. Always act or be excited. You should never go out saying, oh man, enough already. I've heard this story so many times before. It's enough. No, you suck it up and listen and appreciate his effort. He's doing all of you a great favor. So shout it, listen, appreciate, laugh when you need to, and all that. And rule number next. Take turns. I mean, we talked about splitting the bills. So take turns paying the bills. Don't always take a rain check when it comes to sorting out the bill. Oh, I gotta leave. Oh, I got this. No, everybody should contribute to the bill, to sorting it out. You can split it half, 50-50, halfway. Yeah, just don't always let your mates or one of them or a couple of them take the bill. That's just not awesome. It's not cool. Always keep it balanced, evenly balanced, or just about all the time. It's the right thing to do. Let's move on to the designated driver. If you have been charged with the responsibility, or you've been given the honor of being the designated driver, give it all you've got. You'll be rewarded handsomely the next day. in terms of food, drinks, and any other necessities your fellow mates consider they should offer you as a form of gratitude for what you did for them. This is the job of the designated driver. He made sure all of you got home safe and sound, regardless of how much you guys were drinking, no matter how crazy everybody was acting. He sacrificed his time and fun making sure you guys are okay. They made sure none of you made a complete ass of themselves in the club, outdoors, everywhere. It doesn't matter where you guys were. The fact is, he chose to take care of you while the rest of you were having fun. This guy went to the extent of making sure none of you went messing up, calling your girlfriend, calling your wife while you're drunk. Again, the compensation doesn't have to be anything crazy, just the typical pizza and beer works just as well. Rule number next, don't steal your mate's thunder. If he's getting all the attention and recognition, guys are around him happy, listening, laughing to it. Might be he's giving some pretty awesome jokes, he's giving a story. Don't interfere, don't try to take some of that attention away from him. Let him enjoy the limelight. Your time will come, or maybe not, but at the end of the day, you don't try to steal the limelight. At that time, that's his. Let him have it, let him enjoy it. You have no right to interfere. And this happens mostly when maybe a guy is giving a story among a group of other people, and you think you also know the story, and you try to give the story instead of him. You just cut him short. You should not do it. You wouldn't like it if somebody else did it, so just let him give this. He came up with it, so you might as well let him finish it. Doesn't matter how much he's missing out on, how much he's not telling, how much he's losing out on, how much better you think you could do it. He started it, so let him finish it. Let him enjoy the moment. Let him savor the moment. It's his time. Next time you can do it, or you can tell it to a different crew. Yeah. Moving on. Next rule: any service offered to your bros should be well compensated. Oh yeah, we mentioned that it should be well compensated. Yeah, just make sure that if your mates helped you with a job or something, beer and pizza is more than enough. It's make sure they're sufficiently supplied. Let me put it that way. Make sure they're sufficiently supplied with the said items, namely beer, pizza. Yeah, it's your sworn duty to ensure they get that. But that just makes them happy. So make sure they got it. You would expect the same if you were visiting them and they helped you in some task or job. And still, while on the same, while we were talking about beer, it goes also with pizza. If it's the last slice of pizza, it should always go to the man of the house, being in his man cave, so to say. Moving on, the next rule should be something like, if you're hanging out with your bros and there's a bro from a different circle, could be a man from who knows you guys don't know him, it's okay to let him hang out with you and your crew, or with you and your boys, or with you and your bros. I mean, it's hard enough trying to connect to strangers, especially in stranger lands. Stranger lands could be he's just from a different neighborhood, or he's just from a different city, or he just moved in around your neighborhood or a different neighborhood. You should allow him to have fun with you guys, to hang out with you. If you happen to be at a different place, maybe you're working in a different office for a while, or you're visiting a different city, a different state, you'd love it if they just embraced you, so a different group of people. So just do the same thing for others. Yeah, and rule number next, the nod. This is a planetary bros greeting. Even males on other planets, they use pretty much the same form of silent greeting. A simple nod. It could be a nod going up. I mean, you move your head up. You're recognizing somebody else, your fellow bro, or it could mean down. Usually, if it's a nod going up, it just means you know the person, you're acquainted with them. You might have seen them somewhere. You guys probably know each other, so you're just acknowledging them, right? But if it's a nod going down, you might not know the person, but still, you're just acknowledging that, hey, nice seeing you. You don't have to say nothing. It's just silent, but the point gets across. So always remember that a nod up, a nod down, and this applies everywhere. You may be even at the airport or in the streets. A simple nod, it does the job. It sends out the message, hey, I recognize you. I just mentioned even aliens do it on their own planet, so it's about time we did it too. Or it's been happening, just in case somebody doesn't know. Ladies, that's what we do. It's a nod, a simple nod. Don't have to talk, don't have to raise your hand, you don't have to wave. Simple head movement, that's all. Rule number next, this is on barbecues. When invited to a barbecue, please just bring some supplies. Don't just go out there empty-handed. I mean, come on, bring anything. Bring something, bring some supplies. You know the typical beer always works. Bring a can or something, a 6-pack, 8-pack. Bring something. Just don't go with your hands empty. You're going to a barbecue. You're gonna have fun and drink and eat what other men have been working for. So just make sure you bring something. And it's also everyone else's duty to make sure the bro who's actually in charge of everything, who planned the whole thing, maybe you're visiting in his home, it's your job to make sure he's fully and well entertained, because he's laboring at the grill for the good of everybody else. So it only makes sense that everyone else should make sure you keep him entertained, so he doesn't miss out. He doesn't feel like he's missing out on anything. It's good to make sure he's also well taken care of. He's taking care of everyone else with the food. Rule number next, mothers. For all we know, our mothers are the symbols of purity. Nothing is to be said with even an innuendo suggesting otherwise. You do not suggest, you do not say, you do not even think anything different, anything that would even give an impression that you think anything different about them. Nobody wants to hear anything negative about their mom from a fellow bro. They are off limits. You know about mom jokes, they don't always end up too well. So just try and stay away from those. Dad jokes, maybe, you guys love them. Mom jokes, not that much. Sister jokes, bro jokes, no one cares. When and if your bro's girlfriend or his wife or whoever he might be involved with, if they inquire about his whereabouts, you know absolutely nothing. Always, you know absolutely nothing. You might cover, like, unless he told you like what to say, you should always, most cases, you know nothing, or you are not absolved from the responsibility of making sure that your bro is covered. If she calls and asks, hey, where is he? The best thing you can say is, oh, we're actually here together in my house, but he's in the bathroom. Nobody wants to pass the phone in the bathroom. That's the best excuse you could give. That gives you a little bit of more time to figure out if he's not with you. You need to figure out where he is, right? You need to figure out where is he. That's what I mean. You just don't go saying, oh, the last time I saw him, the last time he was with this chick, he was with that. No, just say you don't know. But if you know, you gotta cover for him and make sure your stories match, right? You don't want to go giving a different narrative. You want to be smart at this. You want to know where he is, and if you don't know, figure out how to cover for him until he can cover for himself. Rule number next, on being a wingman, or we mentioned being a wingman, like you just gotta make sure that you shouldn't be a wingman more than twice. That doesn't happen always. You're only obligated to be a wingman maybe just once, or maximum should be once or twice. The next time your guy takes it, it's his chance to be a wingman, to take one for the team. That's how he repays you back. Rule number next, if a bro pays for alcohol, you must make sure you do the same. And everybody in the crew should know who took charge of the bill, who paid for it. If he had done this before, it's an absolute atrocity that you guys are even allowing him to keep picking up the bill. That should not happen. Next, respect. Respect your fellow bro, his beliefs, his decisions. You might always give your 10 cents, what you think about something, but at the end of the day, you respect whatever choices he makes, whoever he decides to date, whatever he decides to do. his sexual orientation and all that, you gotta let him do him. You gotta let him do what he thinks is right. Number next, a bro will never ever get with his bro's relations. That means his bro's mother, sisters. He should stay away from them. Nobody wants to hear that your bro is dating your mom or dating your sister, especially if it doesn't end up. If he's dating your sister, which sometimes does happen, it better end in a marriage and a long marriage. Nothing else. You don't. If it ends up in anything else like heartbreaks and everything, you can't blame your bro for choosing sides. And in this case, he chooses his sister over your bro. He's showing you his new car, his new ride. Please act happy. Just be happy. It doesn't matter if you don't like the ride or not. Be happy for him. Just show him like, whoa, we love your new ride. We can't wait to take it out for a ride and everything. And remember, you're required to admire everything about it. Of course, the bro showing the car has to open the hood. Open that hood. Let them enjoy it. Next, a bro will never leave his bros without a ride. If you guys are going somewhere or you are heading out, if you happen on the rare occasion that you have an argument or get angry with each other, no bro should be left behind without a ride, ever. You gotta make sure everybody's taken care of. He should not walk even a couple of blocks by himself. Swallow it. It doesn't matter how bad you're feeling, the lump on your throat, he gets a ride to his door, to his house, to his home. You can solve everything. Even rock, paper, scissors solves just about every other problem. That's in prostitution. If you can't solve something, just go with rock, paper, scissors. Rule number next. When you're offered gas money, accept it. The bros are probably doing it because maybe you guys were carpooling, all right? Or they appreciate maybe you gave them a ride. So take the gas money. This is the only time maybe you don't have to take in exchange for pizza and beer or some other favors. So if it's gas money, it's acceptable currency. And on shaming, if a bro hooked up with a girl that most of you didn't really think she was up to his standards, he should not be shamed. He shall not be shamed about that for hooking up with a girl. It doesn't matter how she was, if she was crazy, nasty, whatever, it doesn't matter. He shall not be shamed for it. Make an excuse for him. If you have to, if some other guys are making fun of it or trying to bro shame him, make up an excuse, anything. I mean, say he was drunk. You know, he was going through some rough patch. He was getting a divorce, or he was in a breakup. But basically, being drunk pretty much solves it. It's a better excuse. So just say he was drunk. Rule number next. We still got a couple of them. If a bro is not that good at sports, you can make an excuse for him. Anything. So just say something about it. You can make, but don't say something that actually shines on the fact that he's not good at sports. Find a good excuse. He might not be feeling too good. He's not feeling well, so he can't participate, or he's gonna miss out. Just come up with something. Rule number next, still on making sure your bros are well taken care of. A bro should never make his fellow bro look bad in front of a girl, or especially in front of a target girl. If one of your bros is interested in a girl, men generally, bros have to put his best foot forward. They have to speak highly of him. It doesn't matter if you put in a few white lies. Just make sure it's the best thing. You give him the best you make sure she thinks the best of him. You are not at any point allowed to say or do something different. If he gives a story, you go with that story. You don't say something different or something that makes his story or his narrative seem fake or made up. You only contribute to make the narrative even more real, better than what he's saying, but you only add to what he's saying or back him up on everything he's saying. Rule number next. Always ask around before taking anything. Don't just take stuff from your bros if you're visiting, if you guys are hanging out, even though you might work in the same office. No matter how close you are, no matter how long you guys have been together, friends working together, colleagues, college mates, you should ask before taking anything. Don't just go because you know where the car keys are, his bike, without letting him know. You always gotta let him know. It's common courtesy. Yeah, and it goes, that's part of the bro code. Prostitution. I'll mention it again, a prostitution. The Book of Duderonomy. Sounds pretty awesome. And if some guys tend to say that if a chick has proven to be worth being included as a bro, she should not be denied such a chance or the rights that come with being a bro. She should get that right. Of course, there's some chicks who prove they're worthy of being considered a bro. So yeah, if she proves it, yeah. And a bro will not let another bro go driving while they're drunk. But we pretty much covered it with a driver, the driver who's supposed to take one for the team, the designated driver. So that doesn't really matter that much here. It's the same thing. Let's move on to something a little bit different. Like in this case, we can talk about something like no, we talked about that. We talked about covering for your bros, making sure they're not making crazy calls while they're drunk. Yeah, we talked about that. We should have something different. Let me get it. Oh yeah, all right. Always make excuses for your bros' actions. You should have a good excuse. We mentioned being drunk. Yeah, that's all right. All right. Oh, what about this? If a bro is giving a story, is giving a narrative about a sexual encounter, please, we tend to stick to the basics. Don't be too detailed. We don't want to imagine a lot about your nakedness and all that. I mean, you don't have to drive those images so deep, in our brains, digging that deep. The basics are usually just pretty much all right. We'll have a laugh about it and ask 2-3 questions, but nothing too deep. And keep those to yourself. That's between you and the lady. You don't need to know about that. And a bro should make sure he considers his fellow bros, their self-esteem. It's not just about you. You recognize other people's feelings are involved here. These are your bros. And remember, on the exes, this is the same thing with we talked about with exes. It's the same thing. You gotta avoid circumstances where you might be tempted to engage or sleep with a bro's ex-girlfriend or his exes. They might give you the red light, like it's alright to date her, but usually happens after a while. Like maybe he's dated one other person or 2 other people, or maybe she's been dating somebody else. So in that case, you might probably get his blessings for such a relationship, not right after they've broken up. No. Yeah, so you at least give him some time to get better, to feel better about it, or to get in a different relationship before you move on with his ex. A bro should make sure he keeps a safe distance from his bro's girl or the girlfriends or the wife. Things happen. It should not be a situation where it's just you two. And if it happens to be, please keep a safe enough distance, especially when drinking is involved. Anything can happen. Physical contact, you know how it works. So, no exceptions. Next. Don't act like an idiot or a complete jerk just because there's a hot lady around. Don't do that. Don't go changing on your bros just because there's somebody. That usually it leads to you trying to prove yourself, embarrassing them, speaking too much, talking too much, letting out details that are not. Your bros don't really fancy some of the details you'll be going out of your head to give out. So try and keep your composure. Don't forget who you are. Don't go out there acting on like a jerk just to impress some hot lady. Your bros will always be there, so try to keep that in mind. Rule number next, moving on. try to keep your bros from getting tattoos of a lady, especially her name, her picture, her image. I mean, you know how this usually works. They might end up breaking up. That's something they might regret for the rest of their lives, especially if the chick actually dumps him, or she just broke his heart, or she was just playing around with him. So at least he can wait a few years to be sure. Not after he's met somebody a week later, he has her tattooed all over. If there's a bro event coming up, maybe there's a celebration, a graduation, something of the sort, you gotta make sure, you gotta make time for it. You can't go missing out on it unless you're sick or something serious, something to do with your family or something of the sort. You gotta make time. There are no exceptions to that. Just avail yourself. It means if something means that much to him, they make time for you and whatever you might be going, whatever you might have planned. If it's a milestone in your life, names mean a lot. Names they mean a lot. Ladies, if you want to know a different bro code here, right here, I got it. Like names, don't refer to your fellow bros by their last names. You need to use any other name. Nicknames, we got nicknames, we got the first name, but do not go using his last name. It's straight out disrespectful, and it doesn't come out to you're not his grandpa or his grandma, or his angry mom or dad. When they're angry, that's the time they call out on all all his names. So try to veer off of that. Can't remember the last time I used my bro's second name. Weird, crazy. We have some standard names like bro, dude, anything else that you can come up. More on the bro code after this message from our sponsors. Oh, yeah, I'm the sponsor, so let's keep going. Rule number next. If a bro's broke, and bros don't just say, oh, I'm broke or something of the sort. We don't always say we're broke, but there are telltale signs that somebody's broke. If you realize that he's broke, treat him. Might say, I'm trying to save some cash and I'll eat back at home. I actually made plans. I made dinner beforehand, or I'm not hungry. That's you know he probably doesn't do that. He usually eats with the rest of you. So this usually just means he might be going through. He's not at his best at the moment. Rule number next. If your bros on food, if he happens to not have the money, same thing happens with if you guys are buying beverages, if you guys are buying drinks. If he doesn't seem to want to participate, you can pretty much guess that it might have to do with him not having enough money. So just let him know, hey, just show up, we got it covered, or somebody already covered it. So he doesn't have to miss out because he feels that he'll not be a contributing member to that particular party or that particular event. Just let him know it's all right. Like we just need you to show up, man. It's been taken care of by somebody. Just come up with anything just to make sure he's comfortable enough to show up and have fun with the rest of you. There's no point in him missing out just because maybe this time he didn't have enough to contribute, right? Yeah, so just make sure of that. Rule number 100 and something. I'm just kidding with that. That's not it. So the only times a bro is allowed to do crazy stuff or some foolish or stupid stuff is when he's drunk. Like we mentioned about being a jerk or acting crazy. Or if he's drunk, that's all right. Under influence, no problem. It's allowed. It's all right. But in any other case, no. If he's acting up too much, cut out the alcohol. Make sure he's not getting enough anymore. Like the access to the alcohol is limited until at least he sobers up, and he'll have quite a task at hand, proving that he's back, he's sobered up, proving his sobriety. He might have to stand on one leg, maybe do whatever, but yeah, it will take a while. Just make sure he doesn't make too big of a fool of himself. Yeah, and on forgiveness, everything is forgivable. Everything, apart from some of the rules which we mentioned, like the mom thing, the family thing, the exes thing. The exes thing, yeah, you can forgive him. He can be forgiven for that, but there's some exceptions. Like if you make any attempts, like you're interested in your fellow bros, maybe his girlfriend or his wife, that's just unforgivable. There's no going to that level. especially if it's physical. You tried filling her up or something, that's just crazy. That's when you get a punch in the face or something. There is no excuse for that. You're just acting on something you've been thinking about or you've been considering, and it just exposes who you really are. So eye contact. Eye contact. We don't always establish eye contact like we have the bros hug, the man hug. Our swords are never touching, like never. There's a good enough distance between us when we are hugging, when we are that, all of that. Eye contact, no. I mean, high fives are okay. We can give high fives all the time, but the hug, not the lady hug. That one, no. I don't think so. No. And in the rare case, but moving on, the golden rule is always consider your bros over random chicks. You can always a girlfriend or your wife. She comes first. But if it's any other random chick, no, it's bros first. Bros always come first. Your bros will always come first. Last but not least, beards. If beards come into play, the bigger one is always in charge. The bigger the beard, he gets the rights. He is in charge. But if it happens that in the whole crew there's a gray one, a gray beard, then obviously the rest of you acknowledge that, and he's given cognizance of supremacy. He takes over. He reigns supreme over his decisions. Nobody outranks the gray beard. First, he has the wisdom, he has the experience in life, so obviously he takes charge. Rule number, no more. I think we've come to the last rule. Those are just some of the basic rules of the man code, the let me get that right. The brostitution, or the Book of Duderonomy, unwritten Book of Duderonomy. The rules are just there. So I hope you had fun, and I'ma see you later.